Can everyone see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay. Hey, let me leave the call and join back. I think I'm having issues on my side.
Okay, all right. Okay, guys. So while we are waiting for him, can someone just like tell us what they understand by technical writing? I need someone. Let's try to engage with one another. I think our speaker is having some issues. So while he resolves that, anyone has an idea on what technical writing is? Let's just share. Let's try to get to know more about this thing because basically we're a community of learners and we are learning together. So anyone has to share? Anyone has something to share on what technical writing is? Okay, our speaker is here. So wait, let's just go ahead then. All right. Yes, we can see your screen now. Solomon, are you speaking? Okay, Mohammed Abdul Aziz said technical writing has to do with writing documentations and stuff like that. So nice. Okay, can
Okay.
you speak
Can you
now?
hear me
We,
now?
we didn't. We, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So let me just start all over again. So today I'll be talking about technical writing. So basically, what technical writing is, what it entails, what you need to get started, fields available in technical writing, and just basically everything that you need to go from somebody who has no idea about technical writing to writing your first technical article. So I'm Solomon saying,
Sorry, sorry, please. Your slide is not showing yet. It's just I don't know if you are sharing from where. Sorry to cut you.
okay, okay, no problem. Can you see it now?
Uh, or can anyone else see it? Probably it's my network.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay,
It's
okay.
slide.
Okay. What about now?
No, it's not showing
Yes.
now.
No,
Okay. But you can see it now.
Yes, we can. I
Okay.
can see it now.
I will just continue like this. So let me just start it over again. So today I'll be talking about technical writing, everything you need to get started, what it entails, the various fields available in technical writing, what you need to get started, and just basically take you from somebody who has no idea on technical writing or somebody who has basic idea on technical writing to somebody who can publish their first technical content. So my name is Solomon Essay, and I'm a technical writer and developer advocate. So a bit about myself. I also go by the name Lord Goose X, and I'm a tech explorer with a team for Python and languages made by Google. And what this means is that I'm the kind of person who likes exploring various technical fields. As long as I can use code to build something, I always want to explore it. I'm not the kind of person that just stays in one technology, let's say front end, back end, and all. I always like exploring and seeing what I can do with tech as a whole. Then I also like writing about code than writing the actual code that is used to deploy applications, and that is why I'm a technical writer. And then I'm putting my hands into crypto, NFT, and the whole blockchain space. So now, what is technical writing? Basically, technical writing is the creation and management of written content about technology and technology related topics. So, what this means is that if you write an article about tech, let's say about how to get started with tech or how to use a particular web framework, that's a form of technical writing. When you go on Google, let's say you have a bug that you're trying to fix, and then you go and search for the bug on Google, or you just search for like a solution, and then you see an article on Medium, or you see an article on Hashnode or Dev2 or wherever blog you find an article on, that article was written by a technical writer, and that's also a form of technical writing. So basically, what technical writers do is that they serve as a bridge between the product and users of the product. So they are the ones that teach the users how to use a particular product using written content. Now you might be wondering, what are the various forms of technical writing that exist? So we have API and end user documentation. So an API documentation is, let me just give an example. If you want to integrate Paystack today and you go to Google and search for Paystack documentation, you would come across this website that has like everything you need to know about Paystack, every single feature Paystack has, every single thing you can integrate into your application, steps to integrate it, in-depth explanation and all. So that is a documentation for that particular product. And technical writers are the ones who create and manage those kind of content. Also, we also have how-to guides and tutorials. So like I gave you my former example where you have a bug and then you go to Google and you find an article. That is also a form of technical writing. So it can be in form of how-to guide, let's say how to integrate a certain framework into your application, or a tutorial on how to use a particular language, or how to use a particular tool. All of that all forms under technical writing, because you are writing, because the person who made it wrote and is managing that content about technology. We also have other things like PRDs, product requirement documents. So these are used by project managers in companies to just have just basically list out information about a particular product that they are building. That's also a form of technical writing. If you have like promotional pieces and then any form of marketing piece that is technical in a way, that is also a form of technical writing. Research papers, professional reports, white papers, case studies, instruction manuals are also forms of technical writing, because according to our definition, they are writing content about technology. So now you might be wondering, why should you start writing? Well, first off, every engineer is also a writer. Why do I say this? You're an engineer, you have idea about code, you build code already, you build applications and all, and then you even write comments in your code. Your comment in your code already serves as a way of you writing about that particular piece of technology. So in a way, every engineer is also a writer. Well, let's go to like actual reasons. Well, number one, writing is a lucrative and highly paid skill, and you can build a career from being a technical writer. So now, let's look at this. Why are technical writers even needed in the first place? A company releases a product that is aimed at developers. Developers are their major market. Developers are who is using that particular product. And now they need somebody, or they need something that would basically teach their product to their users. So they have a product, they have users, but the users don't know how to use that particular product. And the company is looking for how they can teach the users about their product. That is where the technical writers come into play. So as long as companies keep releasing new software products every day, there will always be a need for technical writers to come and write about those products. So as long as tech as a whole, software engineering as a whole is growing, the demand for technical writing is also going to grow. And then in the US, the average salary for a technical writer is about $76,000. Let me just say $80,000 per annum. That's like the average salary that you can make as a technical writer in the US. And then from the chart here, we can see that the average salary is increasing per year. This chart was drawn from 2010 to 2020, and it has grown significantly within that period. That is because more software companies are coming out, and there's higher demand for people who know how to communicate those products to the users. Number two, the more you write, the more you learn and become an expert on various technical subjects. Basically, when you start technical writing, when you start writing at all, and then as you continue doing it, you're basically improving your skill. You're improving your writing skill, you're improving your tech skills. Because there will be times when you are asked to document a particular product or write about a particular technology and you have absolutely no idea about that particular technology, and then you go and do your research just because you want to write an article on it or something. So as you're doing your research, you are learning more, you are becoming an expert on various technical subjects just because you are doing your research and then you are writing about that particular technology. Also, you develop a better sense of user empathy and pay closer attention to how the readers or product customers think. So basically, in a lot of companies, the technical writing team is placed under the product team. There are some companies who place it under the engineering team, but in reality, I usually just see it as a mix. A technical writer is on both the product team and engineering team because those two teams are who you would report to and who you would work with most of the time in a company. So when you start writing technical articles, you start improving those articles, you start doing things like usability tests and all. On the way, you get a better sense of how users see a product, how users understand the product, and then it just gives that whole user empathy. And then from time to time, you start seeing that you can actually contribute to the product team whenever they are doing their UX research and all, and just say, hey, I noticed these things about developers, I noticed these things about our users and all. And then you can also collaborate with the developer relations team if your company has one, because you will also work closely with them as a technical writer. Also, being a technical writer, you get to teach your fellow developers what you know and you get to help them resolve their problems. Like the example I gave before on how you have a bug and then you go to Google to search for an article that will teach you how to solve that bug. The person who wrote that article used that particular medium, used his technical writing skills to teach other people what he knew, and he also helped you resolve your problem. And also, as a technical writer, as you continue writing articles, you continue publishing works out there, you get to increase your brand recognition, and then you also get to grow your network as a technical writer. That's because you're like a people person. You are always out there, your content is always out there, people are interacting with your work, and then basically you get to grow your network and increase your brand recognition from there. So now, what are the prerequisites to become a technical writer? Well, so first, you should know how to write. So basically, if you're going to be writing technical content in English, you should know how to write in English. If you're going to be writing technical content in French, in Spanish, or whatever, you basically need to know that language. That is the first step. So knowing how to write involves tenses, spelling, grammar, and all. And the reason why this is very important is that you don't want to publish content that has a lot of like typos and it's not properly constructed or it's not properly written. But then luckily there are tools that help you polish your grammar, check your tenses, check spellings and all. So you really don't need to bother about that too much. Also, you should possess good communication skills so that you can pass your knowledge to the users of that particular product. That is also a very important skill that you should have as a technical writer, and that is good communication skills. That's because you are serving as a bridge between the product and the users of that product. So you need to be able to communicate to the users of the product about the product very well. Also, you should also develop your technical skills and you should have the ability to research about a particular topic. So now, why do you say we should develop your technical skills? This is because in the company, you're going to be working with the engineering team a lot. And then the engineering team is going to be calling a lot of technical concepts, technical terms, and all. So you as a technical writer, if you already have that knowledge beforehand, if you're already familiar with a lot of technical jargon, a lot of technical concepts, it would help you as a technical writer to be better at your job, really. And then there are a lot of interviews that you get in as a technical writer, and just because you know how to write certain languages, or just because you know how to code, and you can put code examples in the product, you are more likely to get that job. They just see it as a plus that, oh, you are a good writer, you're also a good developer. That's a very good match for a technical writer. That's a very good skill set that a technical writer should possess, and you're most likely to like land the job. And then basically it will just help you make your job better if you have good technical skills already before you branch into technical writing. So now let's explore some tools that would help you first for researching, we have Google, Quora, Stack Overflow. I should probably put ChatGPT in this because whenever you're researching about whenever you want to start writing about a particular topic or a particular product, the first thing you need to do is research about it. So like a common concept out there, you can use things like Google to just like search for articles that would help you learn more about it. On Quora, you can see questions that people are asking in the place, or people are asking around that particular technologies and see answers from there. So that also helps during your research. For Stack Overflow, you are dealing with like mostly code things, and then it can just basically help you draft out like code snippets and just basically understand how to solve some common issues that people are having with a particular technology. And then researching tools also like span beyond this. So this is mostly for like external documentation, things that you're going to be putting out there. There are also like internal tools you can use to like do your research. So you can have things like PRDs, so you can meet like the project manager of a particular product that you want to document and ask them for like PRDs, or whether they have Notion pages that or knowledge bases that can help you just basically understand how the product works. So now for note-taking tools, so basically any note app you have can work. So why do you need a note-taking tool? So you are doing your research, you can just basically use your tool, your notes, to write key points about what you are documenting, key points about what you are researching, and then further integrate this into the article that you are going to be creating. So you can use tools like Google Keep, Evernote, Notion, and any other note-taking tools that come to your mind at all. So authoring tools, so these are tools that you use to actually write your technical content. So Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Visual Studio Code, Dropbox Paper are all tools that you use to write your documentation, you use to write your technical article. Now you might be wondering, why is Visual Studio Code part of this list? And then that's because when you go further into technical writing, you start to manage API documentation, you start to work on end user documentation and all of that. And most of these platforms are written or are managed using a language called Markdown. Basically, it's the same thing that you use to write your README files on GitHub. And then the whole documentation platform is just like one piece of code, and then you need Visual Studio Code to actually contribute to this particular repository or contribute to that particular documentation platform. So now for editing, your editing tools, so these are tools that help you edit your content, ensure your tenses are all right, your spellings are all right, your grammar is correct and all. So you have tools like Quillbot, Grammarly, Hemingway Editor. So anyone that you feel like using at all. So basically what these tools help you do is just edit your article and ensure that it is of high quality. So now for documenting, your documenting tools for API documentation and all of that. So you have things like Gitbook, you have tools like Swagger, Redocly, and Docusaurus. So these tools help you create end user documentation, help you create API documentation for a particular product that you're working on. Okay, that's it. So now, a couple of resources for you to get started with technical writing. So I'll be sharing the link to the slides after this talk, so you can just click on these links one by one. So basically, every link here just contains like links to like various resources that you can use to get started in depth in technical writing. So the first one here is a compilation of courses that were created by Google on technical writing, and then the remaining two are also in the same way as the first one. So this also contains like a list of technical writing resources. This article here helps you get started with Markdown. This is also a course on technical writing, a course on API documentation, an article on how to write engaging tutorials, and then a link to paid community writer programs. So basically these are like resources that you need to get started with, that you can use to get started with, and then I'll be sharing the link to the slides afterwards, so anybody can just access this. So now let's look at some best practices that you should follow whenever you're writing technical content. So first, before you start writing any form of content at all, it's always good to create an outline before you start writing. And basically, an outline just contains bullet points of what will be contained in each of the heading. So looking at this example here, we have a heading that says build and deploy an API with Python, Flask, and Doppler. And then I have like bullet points that just say, oh, in this first section, I'm going to be defining, just basically summarizing the whole purpose of the article and giving an overview of what to be covered in the article. And then I have like other headings like, oh, what is Doppler? What are the benefits? How to get started? Setting up the Flask application, integrating Doppler with Flask and Python, deploying the Flask application, and the conclusion. And then I have like various bullet points that show what to be contained in those particular sections. So now the reason why you should always create an outline is because it helps you structure your article very well. So you don't just want to start an article and then you're just rambling and you're just writing and you're just putting whatever comes to your mind. If you have an outline set, it would help you better structure your article. It's more or less like you're writing a code, you are writing a code project, and then you have like a, let's say, you have like a requirement document, or you have like a structured document of how every part of the app would interface with every other part of the app. So that is like the same kind of thing in technical writing. So you just have like a skeleton of how your article look like, and it help you create better content. Now, let's move on to other things. Another one is that you should maintain consistency in your writing. And what consistency entails is that there are many ways to write a particular thing, or there are many ways to structure your article. But then if you start with one particular way, use that particular way throughout the article or throughout the entire blog or whatever. This is because so you are doing this so that the user is already like used to a particular style. Let's say you're writing an article and then you are using, let's say you are calling, okay, let's say you're writing a particular article and then you are using a particular heading style. Let's say sentence case heading. When the user opens that particular article, they already see that you are using sentence case heading. So it is very good if you just use sentence case heading throughout that entire article, rather than having like 5 different heading styles in one article. The reader of that article can become very confused. So now, I also talked about grammatical persons. So what grammatical persons means is that whenever you read articles, you see some articles that they will reference you as the reader as, oh, the first thing you should do is download this application or whatever. You read some other articles and they will say that, oh, the first thing we will do is download this particular application. So basically, a grammatical person is how you refer to the reader of the article. So you can use things like your application, you should download this, you should do this first, blah blah blah. You see some other articles that will say we are going to download this application first and all. So basically, what consistency has to do with grammatical person is that if you start an article and you're referencing the reader as the first thing you should do is do this, do that, use that particular style throughout the whole article. Don't just start with you should do this and then the next part you say we will download this first. It can also like confuse the reader as they are reading the article. So if you have any style at all, any concept, any way of doing something, and then you start an article using that particular way, just continue using it throughout the whole article. Another one again is that you should write your sentences clearly and don't repeat yourself. So writing your sentences clearly is that whenever you're writing a technical article, it's not a matter of how many words you write or how long your article is. If you can write a particular article, or you can write a particular sentence in a shorter form, write it in a shorter form. Make it very clear, because a technical article is not like a novel, or it's not like a story article or something. You're just basically trying to educate the user by a particular product. So be as clear as possible whenever you're writing your sentences and all. And if you mention a particular fact in a part of the article, don't repeat yourself again, because the reader has read that part before. They already know what it is, so there's no point telling them the same thing all over again. The next one here is avoid writing long paragraphs and then learn to break them into short and precise forms. So you're writing your article, or you've written your article and all, and then you see that your paragraphs are very long. Try and break them into very short parts, because it is easier for somebody to read or even skim through an article that has like many paragraphs, but each of these paragraphs is short, and then at a glance they can easily just see what that paragraph is talking about, rather than opening a particular article and seeing like 30 lines of writing. It's just one paragraph. Like, it's easier to read the one that is already broken down into smaller parts than the one that is just jumbled together. So whenever you see that, your paragraphs are becoming like, break them down into very short parts. Also, write your sentences in active voice rather than passive voice. So let me just give an example of active voice. So an example is monkeys adore bananas. The cashier counted the money. The dog chased the squirrel. And the passive voice examples for those ones is bananas are adored by monkeys. The money was counted by the cashier. The squirrel was chased by the dog. You can see that this one goes straight to the point. Monkey adored bananas. The cashier counted the money. The dog chased the squirrel. So this is something you should also look out for. Also, if you use tools like Grammarly and Hemingway app and all, if you write something in passive voice, it will automatically highlight it that, you wrote this in passive voice, and then sometimes they will even give you a suggestion on how you can write it to be better. So something that you should not really bother yourself about, but just be aware, or just take note of it, or just be conscious that, I should always write in active voice rather than passive voice. But then if you do skip it, or something slips and then you forget or something, then tools like Grammarly would help you identify it and fix it. Also, use bullet points and white spaces wherever you can. So let's say you want to list a particular thing. Let's say you're writing a prerequisite section of your article, and then you want to list out the tools that the reader needs to get started with that particular article. Use bullet points for such. So instead of you writing all the things that they need and separating it with comma, just use the bullet point. It makes it clearer, it makes it stand out from the article, and it just makes it better structured overall. And then also, as much as possible, if you can use an image to explain what you're trying to explain. Just basically demonstrate what you're trying to explain to the reader. It also helps a long way. So you are explaining a particular content, and then you find a picture online that can just basically give the user a visual representation of what's happening, or just basically explain it to them using pictures, embed it in your article. Try and use images in your article as much as possible. Also, when you want to include code examples in your articles, don't just take a screenshot from your terminal or take a screenshot from your text editor and paste inside the article. In Markdown, there are tools that allow you embed a code directly into your article. So use things like that. And if you feel that the code is too long, you can use a GitHub gist to host the code, and then put a link to that GitHub gist in your article. Okay, now let me even go back to this again. So the reason why screenshots are not usually advised is because, let's say the reader wants to just copy the code and paste the code. They can't copy a code from a screenshot. But if you embed the code with Markdown, or you embed it using GitHub gist, they can easily just copy the code, paste it, make their modifications, and be on their way. Another one is that explain abbreviations the first time you use them in your article. So let's say there's a particular abbreviation for something. Let's say XSS, which means cross-site scripting. So instead of just starting the article and saying XSS and just moving on with the article, the first time you use an abbreviation, write out the full meaning of the abbreviation, then put the abbreviation in brackets. Then you can now continue using the abbreviation wherever you like in that particular article. And this helps because a particular reader might not be familiar with that particular abbreviation, but when they just see the full meaning, they get an idea that, this is what it means already, and then you've learned something new from there. Also, if you are going to be building a code demo for your article. Let's say your article is showing the reader how to integrate a particular product or how to integrate a particular library. When you finish your article, when you finish building your code demo, start all over again. Just basically follow the steps in your article and use it to create that demo application again from the beginning. And then if there's the reason why we do this is that if there's any step that you missed in the article that you forgot to like include, or something you changed in the code and then you forgot to like reflect it in the article, rebuilding the application again would help you identify such. It's just basically a way of just testing, like unit testing your article, or unit testing the code that was built using your article. So just build the application again and then to help you highlight if there were any issues and at all during the development process or during the writing process. Then also check your grammar with tools like Grammarly and Hemingway app. So I've said this over and over. Also, don't fill up your article with heavy vocabulary. Basically, if you would not use a particular word whenever you're talking to somebody in person, like somebody's in your front, and there's a particular word or there's a particular terminology that you would not use whenever you're talking with them, don't bother adding it to your article so you don't end up confusing the reader that you're trying to educate on a particular topic. Also, take your time to properly understand your content intended audience. So what this means is that before you start writing an article, have it at the back of your mind that, oh, who is this article meant for? Is it meant for beginners? Is it meant for intermediate developers? Is it meant for experts? And then use this as a guide whenever you're writing an article. So if you're writing an article that is for beginners, for example, there are some terminologies or there are some concepts that you might not want to include in a particular article. Or whenever you're telling them about a particular thing, you might want to go in depth because they are beginners and they might not have an idea on what to do. If you're writing an article for experts, there are some terminology that you are free to use. There are some steps you can just reference another article and just tell them to follow it because you already assume that, oh, they are seniors already, so it will be quite easy for them to scale through. So just understand your audience first and use that as a guide whenever you're writing any article or documentation. And then when you're done writing your whole article, go through every sentence or go through every line one by one. And then whenever you're going through it, just think of ways that you can improve it so that you just basically improve the whole article as a whole. And then periodically carry usability tests on your documentation. So now what does this mean? You have a documentation, you have an article and all. So from time to time, you should carry out usability tests. So now what's the usability test? Usability test is one where you invite an engineer or you invite somebody who has no idea about that product. And then you tell them to read your article or go through your documentation and follow it through. And then you just basically observe them while they do this. So the aim of this is that if there's any part of the article that is like confusing or is hard to understand or anything like that, that particular person that is doing the test for you would highlight them, and then you can use that feedback to improve the documentation or improve that particular article. So basically what this whole usability test does is that it puts you in the shoes of the average reader that is going through your article, and then it helps you see the issues that they are facing. It helps you see what is wrong with the article, and then you can use that to improve the article going forward or improve the documentation going forward. Also, make your content title as clear and straightforward as possible. So the reason for this is because of SEO. So whenever you search for something on Google, there are many times when you just only read the title of that particular article, and then you already know if it will be helpful or not to you. And that's because the title of that particular article is clear and it's very straightforward on what the article already contains. So if you are writing content, your title is one very important thing, and then you should put in effort into making it clear and straightforward as possible. You want your article to be something, you want the title of your article to be something that somebody just reads the title alone and they already understand or they already have an idea of what that particular article is going to be about. And also, use useful, descriptive, and relevant anchor text for your hyperlinks. So basically, if you're going to be including a link to another page of your article, don't just say things like click here or read more or whatever. Have like a descriptive text or like a descriptive message of what they should be expecting to see in the new page, and then put the hyperlink on that descriptive text. So that's all for the best practices, and thank you for listening to this session. And then, like I said, the slides, so you can access the slides through here, bit.ly/technical-writing-talk. So I'll be pasting this in the chat section for anybody who wants to go through this. So does anybody have any questions so far?
Okay, thank you very, very much for that. That was really an amazing session. I got to learn so much, learn a lot. Please, if you have questions, you can raise up, like use the option to raise up your hand or actually type in your questions in the chat session. So, Bobby, I have some questions for you, Solomon. Thank you very much again. So my question is, if someone is, let's say, I'm a content writer already, does that make me automatically a technical writer, or what's are like the similarities between both? Similarities, or should I say differences, or whatever, whatever, like what makes them different from one another, or what makes them similar to one another? Yeah.
Okay. So basically, technical writing, according to our definition, is writing about technical concepts. So basically, a technical writer is somebody who knows how to write and who knows technical things and can write about technical things. So to be a technical writer, you need to know how to write and you need to know technical things. So if you're already a content writer, it means you already have writing skills beforehand. So now if you want to switch to technical writing, all you need to do is pick up technical skills and then start applying your writing to technical skills that you know already. So that is really how to move from any form of writing to being a technical writer. So if you already have the writing skills, pick up technical skills. And even if you are a developer already and then you want to move into technical writing, you already have the technical skills as a developer. All you need to do is pick up the writing skills and just apply your writing skills to the technical skills you have already. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, very much. So there's another question again that we have for you, which is like how did you basically get started in technical writing, and what led you to pursue this career path? Like what really made you start? What really made you dive into technical writing?
Okay. So for me, I was like a full web developer, full developer and all. And then I decided to create a blog for fun. Let me just see what creating a blog entails and just basically write articles from time to time. So I created a blog and I was publishing technical content on the blog. Just basically writing about backend, writing about Python and various topics. And then from there, a company reached out to me once and they were like, oh, they have this particular product and would I be interested in writing about it? So basically, a lot of the content on my blog was about Python. And then they had this product that could be used by many languages, but there was no Python content online. So they wanted somebody who could fill in that gap and create content for them. So that was how I started like a contract with them and started writing technical content about their product. And then from there, I just decided to just take it up full time and start writing articles for various products and all and pursue it as a full-time career.
awesome, awesome. So, but I don't know if you are okay to say like for that particular contract or that particular, because I know that for you to switch, probably maybe the pay was actually mouth-watering. Can you just maybe like, even if you're not going to say exactly the amount, can you just give us like an idea of how much or this like like the range or something like that? At least let's like how much was it or something? Yeah.
Okay, so back then that was late 2020, 2021. So back then the contract was I was supposed to be paid about $450 per article. So as at then that was about 200K for an article, and then I only used to take like 3 days or more, let me just say like a week to write the article. So it was like pretty chilled by the side.
So 100K per article. Hey, let's. I'm just trying to wrap the amount in my head. Like, let's assume that okay, I didn't write much. I just wrote like 20 articles in 1 month. Oh God, okay. Somebody doing the math. Hey man, that's crazy.
That
I never thought like technical. Yeah, yeah. You're saying something.
that time I only used to write about 1 or 2 per month for them because I was like schooling at the time. I still had like my developer job and all, so it was like something I was doing by the side. So like 1 or 2 articles a month, and yeah, the 200K was like using dollar rates as at then. Right now, $450 is about 350K or so.
Mad. Oh, that's crazy. So, but like, I'm just curious. Like this technical writing, I used to feel like it's more of like a contract kind of job. Like, like they would also okay, the company would just reach out and say, okay, we need you to write this thing on because we are trying to launch a product, or we need you to talk about this particular skill. But I've been seeing recently that like companies are now looking out for full-time technical writers. Is it that I don't know if probably maybe like you've had or like can you just share an experience on that? Like, is it that they keep on giving you tasks to write on every day or like every week or something like that, or did you just have something to write about?
Okay, so
I
I've
don't know if you
actually
got the question right. Yeah.
yeah, I got the question. So I've actually like done full-time technical writing before for a Web3 company. So basically, I was not the only technical writer there. We're like a team of 3. And what our day-to-day involves is whenever the engineering team releases a new product, we would update the documentation on that particular change. So let's say they change a particular thing or they update a particular product, we would make the necessary changes on the documentation. Whenever they release a new product, we would create new documentation about that particular product. And then our active, just basically like what we also do aside all of this is also improving the documentation as a whole. So making the documentation better, making it clearer, making it more understandable, making it easier to navigate, improving the user experience, improving technical writing workflows, improving the documentation writing processes and all. So just basically all of this and all that was what we were like. That was what my team was in charge of in the company. And then yeah, so now you ask something else about what exactly do you do. So what you do exactly is actually determined by the company and their needs for a technical writer. So companies need technical writers to write on their blog. Let's say DigitalOcean. So DigitalOcean use their technical writers to write articles on their blog and all. So if you're a technical writer for for DigitalOcean or let's say LogRocket or something, that would be your day-to-day writing articles to publish on the blog and all. In some other people's case, is to manage the developer documentation. In my own case, that was the task. I was managing the developer documentation. So what exactly you do is determined by the company, and you discuss it on the call, let's say the interview call with the recruiter or with the team or whatever. So yeah, that's it. And then what you said about you always thought it was contract. So the thing is that outside of technical writing, where you just contract a couple of developers who companies keep full time, and they are the ones that they would always just contract whenever they need a particular thing to be done.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for that. There's a question in the comment section. It says, for someone with a background in content writing, what do one need to learn to be a technical writer? And do you need to fully integrate into learning coding and programming language? I think what he's just trying to say is that do you need to have an idea of programming language before you actually go into technical writing or something like that?
Okay, yeah. So, like I explained before, technical writing involves two things. It involves three things. Number one, knowing how to write. Number one, knowing tech things, tech concepts and all. And number three, writing about those tech things that you know. So yes, you need to know how to code to be a technical writer. Maybe not in depth, maybe not up to professional level, but you understand how code works, you understand how tech works, and then you are able to explain how it works and even write about it.
Oh, awesome. So I have, in fact, I have quite a lot of questions, and I think I'll just keep asking them because there are some questions that we prepared ahead for you, and it's like basically we know of this Chat GPT thing, and like even content writers now they are kind of scared that okay, AI has taken over their jobs and all of that. Is it the same for technical writers, or is it that like probably maybe AI cannot do as much as a human can do in terms of technical writing, or is it just or I don't know if you got the question right, but it's just something around that.
Okay. So the thing about this whole discussion about AI taking up writing jobs, for me, it's all about point of view. You can look at it that it's going to replace every single writer in the world, or you can look at it that okay, it's going to help every single technical writer or every single writer in the world. For me, I see it as a tool that would help me do my work better. So basically, now with ChatGPT, there are multiple times when I needed to, let's say, explain a particular product, and then I have like the PRD, I have like raw information about it from the engineering team. And in the past, what I just did was copy the articles or like copy the information I have about that particular project or that particular product, pasted it into ChatGPT and told you that okay, here's information about a particular project, and then it should highlight the key points for me about this particular product. And it gave me a couple of key points. And then I also told you that generate an outline for this particular thing, and then it did. And then it just basically helped me improve my technical writing workflow. So, but then overall, I feel AI, ChatGPT as a whole, would help improve technical writing workflows or help improve writing workflows as a whole. So that means that before you can have a team of like 10 writers. Now you can reduce that team to about 5, and the output will be the same because ChatGPT is helping them do a lot of the research and do a lot of, let's say, writing and all. But still, there will still be roles for technical writers. There will still be roles for writers as a whole. It's not just going to come and take over everything, because at the end of the day, you still need somebody who is going to operate this particular AI, who is going to pass in the prompt, who is going to copy the output, who is going to edit that output, who is going to publish it on the blog or on the documentation. So you still need writers, you still need human beings to actually do some part of the work. ChatGPT is just coming to assist with some part, but it can't completely take over everything that needs to be done.
Wow, awesome. We have a question in the. It says, Precious is asking, is learning API documentation compulsory for a tech writer?
Okay, so for that question, like I said before, it determines what exactly you do is determined by the company you work at. There are some companies that you do technical writing for, and all they want you to do is just create articles for their blog and share it around. There are some companies you work for, and the only thing they want you to do is API documentation. There are some companies you would work for, and what they want you to do is just manage their developer documentation. So what I would say you should do is that as a technical writer, you should learn API documentation. You should know how to document APIs, but it's not compulsory that that is what you do every single day of your career.
Oh wow. In fact, I think there's one question again that I have. I don't know. I'm sorry. This is kind of like the questions are coming in, but how do you handle situations where you need to write about a technical subject that you do not feel fully understand, and like what strategies do you use to research and learn about those new topics? Like if for a situation where you are given a task to write about a particular this thing, but you don't really fully understand it. Have you been in that kind of situation before?
Yeah, I've been in those kind of situations a lot. So as a technical writer, you are going to be jumping onto the company is going to develop a new product and all. You are going to be one of the first set of people that will integrate it because you need to release documentation. So like a large part of your work entails you jumping into things that you have no idea about and eventually still writing about those things. And then the best thing to do in those kind of situations is gather as much resources you can about that particular product. So this can entail you just going to Google and searching for articles that relate to what you're about to write about. This also entails asking the engineering teams for resources they have, let's say internal documentation, let's say knowledge bases, let's say PRDs, let's say requirement documents, let's say product specifications. Just basically any form of information that the engineering team must have written down or that gives you an idea on how that particular product works. Gather all those information as much as you can and then start doing your research, read about it, study it. And then there are even times when I would not understand something at my former company and then I would tell one of the lead engineers on that particular product to just be like, hey, what's up? Do you want to jump on a one-on-one call? Just a brief 15 to 30 minutes call so that I can just ask my questions and all. So these are things that you need to do. So part of your job entails you, that's what I put as part of the prerequisites to becoming a technical writer, is that you need to know how to research. So basically, research on that particular product, you understand it, and then you can now start writing about it. And then luckily now we have ChatGPT. So even if you don't understand it completely, you can maybe just tell ChatGPT and provide ChatGPT with the information you have, and then tell it to explain it to you in a language that you would understand, and you can ask it back and forth questions. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. So let me just ask these final questions. But final question, I don't know, but if there's still is there still someone in the chat section that or someone on this call that still has questions? Please, if you have questions, just type it down. I'll read it out. So my question basically is now that you are more of like a full-time technical writer, do you still do like a lot of coding, or you've actually you've actually reduced your coding time or duration a lot because of technical writing? Like, does it affect one or the other?
Okay. So the thing is that as a technical writer, your main job is not to write code for the product. It is to write documentation about the product. But sometimes this documentation that you're writing about the product involves code. Let's say you're going to be writing a code snippet on how to integrate a particular application. Or let's say you're just going to be writing a code example or writing a code demo and all. So things like that are entailed. So yes, taking technical writing full-time has reduced how often I spend writing code. But then aside technical writing on its own, I also have like side projects that I also work on, and I'm writing code there. So yes, I still actively code, and yes, my coding has reduced because of technical writing.
Okay. Wow. So thank you very much for like this wonderful session. Like it has really been really educative. I've learned quite a lot, and I'm sure that even the audience have also learned. Please, does anyone still have any other question before we wrap it off? If you have a question, please just signify by raising your hand or ask the question in the chat box. And if I don't see your hand, Okay. I think I saw something now. Okay. It seems like we don't have any question. Really want to appreciate you for this wonderful session once again. Thank you for taking out your time to be present, and we've learned quite a lot. And I guess yes, thank you very much. Please, guys, let's type in the chat section and like appreciate our speaker for this session. And we are really grateful, and would do well to also reach out to you when we have issues and all of that. We hope you are welcome to ask questions or reach out to you when we have issues. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Solomon.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
All right then. So since we are done with that, we'll be putting our